everyone. I'm Keith Frome, co-founder of College Summit, and I'm so excited to welcome you to the Writing Coach Coordinator training for the College Summit workshop training. I'm coming to you via YouTube from the King Center Charter School, where I am as a board member, and I am a board member, but I'm also creating their middle school. And our motto is "The road to college begins in kindergarten." And here is a panoramic view of our kindergarten and first grade in this historic church on the east side of Buffalo. So once again, I want to thank you for the commitment and passion and generosity you're showing by donating your time to help students and help teachers help students exhibit their passion and their generosity through their essays. When we began College Summit a long time ago now, in 1993, we focused on the essay really for four reasons. The first one was that we knew, and it's still the case today, that about 25% of a student's or an applicant's chance of getting into college was dependent upon their essay and how well they expressed themselves and how unique. So we knew that that was a leverage point for getting the kids that we were working with to get admitted to colleges. The second thing is that we were very close to and had actually served, or some of us had served as college admissions officers ourselves. And we knew what the experience of a college admissions officer was like, having mounds and piles of applicants, and reading through them was a mind-numbing experience and quite boring. But when we came across a student essay that really sang, to use the words of my colleague Lee Coffin, who helped us start College Summit, who's now the Dean of Admissions at Tufts, that had a unique voice that really told us a story and made us learn something or hear a voice that we hadn't heard before. That application, no matter really what the academic record was, rose to the top. And so we knew that providing authentic essays and that experience for the admissions officers would also give our kids a better chance of admission. The third reason why was that the writing process itself, and the process that I know you all know so well and that you're going to be teaching to your writing coaches, actually gave students a sense of empowerment and what's known as self-efficacy. In the research literature today, it's called grit or tenacity, but it's this feeling that they can produce something of value, beauty, and of power, and not just the power of their own voice, but the power to navigate their life and to get them into college. And I think that feeling of self-efficacy and that proof point that the essay is very, very powerful reason why we're getting the results that we get in College Summit, particularly among the workshop participants. And the last reason why is that the writing seminar itself, the coaching sessions at College Summit, give kids a taste of what real college is like. It's going to be very, very different from the kind of classes that they're taking in a traditional high school, where their ideas are entertaining, where creativity and questions are very much prized. So for those four reasons, it increases their chances for admission, it helps them shine in front of admissions officers, it gives them a sense of power and self-efficacy, and it gives them a taste of what real college is like. I think provides a great motivational cocktail, as it were, for the students. I want to just read to you a passage from an admissions officer that we've been using since really 1994. His name is Michael Goldberger, and he was the director of admissions at Brown. And this is what he said about the power and potency of a good college essay. He said, "Students make the mistake of guessing what admissions officers want to hear. The difference between a compelling essay and a run-of-the-mill one is the integrity and sincerity of the student's voice. It has plot. A good application reads like a good book," he says. "It has plot, it has character, it has development, it has twists and turns, it has humor, it has pain, and other sublime subjects. There is a balance of description and reflection, and energy and vitality is reflected." So in the 10 steps that are part of the College Summit writing process, and those 10 steps are the initial free write, the initial gold mining, the second free write, the second gold mining, the questions that the writing coach brings to bear on the text that yield the second draft, and then the formation of the final draft, and then the publishing and the celebrating of it at the dinner, and then the final inputting of it into CS-NAV. Those 10 steps are really designed in order to elicit the kind of essays that Michael Goldberger and that the rest of us know will be winning essays. But there's actually another theoretical basis for the College Summit writing process, and there's really 3 bodies of research that informed our creation of it. The first was from some very interesting research that was done by a woman named Nancy Summers, who was the director of expository writing at Harvard College when I taught expository writing there. And what she said is that there were two basic fallacies in the way that most writing is taught in schools and in colleges. And the 2 fallacies were the following. One is that writing is a linear process, and that the linear process began with a brainstorming session, and then an inputting or a downputting of the ideas, and then a revision process. And the second fallacy was that writing was always done alone, that it was a lonely process. And what she did is she knew as a writer herself that those 2 fallacies were indeed not were fallacies, and that writers did not write in a linear fashion, and writers never wrote alone. They may have been physically alone when they wrote, but they were always part of a community. So she went out and she did a study of actual writers writing, and she documented what they did. And she studied a number of writers at their desks writing and the kind of process they went through. And what she found was that writers are in a continual circular loop of vision and revision, and that often writers only know what they want to write about after they're done with the writing, and that finding out the idea and the theme and putting in the details and crafting the prose was not a linear process at all. It didn't begin with an idea and then go to a rough draft and then go to a final draft. But it was a constant sense of exploration and revision. And she documented this by watching writers, and the writing process at College Summit intends to recapitulate that process. And so writing is really a mode of thinking and rethinking. It's really a mode of exploration and discovery, not a mode of just putting ideas down on paper and then being done with it. And the second thing she found out was that it is very rare, if impossible, for a writer to write alone. Most writers write in a community of other writers, or most writers write with an editor if they're published writers. And almost all writers, in fact I would say every writer, writes with a generation of writers sitting at their shoulder, and these are the people that they've read before. And they're either, as Harold Bloom says, reacting and rejecting the writers that they wrote before, or they're accepting and incorporating them, and it's probably a little bit of both. But every writer is writing in response to the writing that they themselves have written. And every writer is writing in a community of other writers. They're showing their work to other writers, they're sharing it in this day of email, they're emailing it back and forth. And if you're a published writer or a writer about to be published, you're working with an editor. And that editor is constantly giving you feedback. The writing process and situation at the College Summit Workshop is designed quite intentionally to recapitulate that community of writing. So the writers that you're going to be working with, the students themselves, will be writing in a group of fellow writers. They will be sharing their work, they will be getting comments and supportive critiques, not only from you, but from their peers, and what that does is that recreates the very act of what real writers do. So that's one theoretical basis. The second theoretical basis is really the theory of authenticity in education, and this, for me, is best articulated by a philosopher from Columbia, a philosopher of education named Maxine Greene. What Maxine Greene discovered a long, long time ago is that students learn best when they are being their most authentic and when they are engaging in their life work, and they see the relevancy of school to their life work. And so she very much promoted the arts, visual and dance, as well as literature, as a way to engage students in the act of learning through creating their own authentic voice and their own authentic reasons for being in school. And of course, the College Summit writing process is all about authenticity, because we know that an authentic voice creates a winning essay. We know a winning essay increases the student's chance of getting into college. But at the same time, I think there's a deeper existential lesson to be learned here, in that students are actually being able to articulate their hopes, dreams, fears, and aspirations in a very supportive and beautiful way, in creating a product for them. And the third piece of research is done by a man named Richard Marius, also from the Harvard Expository Writing Department. What Marius taught us is very, very important. He said that most English teachers go home and correct students' essays, and that's the term that they read, they correct them. But it's very rare for an English teacher to go home and read a student essay. But what he taught his students was that the writing teacher should be a literary critic and should come to the craft or the task of looking at a student's paper and coaching a student through his paper in the same way that you would engage a poem by Maya Angelou or T.S. Eliot or read Faulkner or Hemingway or whatever. You come to it with the assumption that meaning is being made, that metaphors are being created, that there is structure, and that the job of the critic is to unearth and show that meaning in the writing. So if you treat the student's writing with the same reverence and degree of respect and assumptions of meaning that you would treat a published poem or published novel, that student obviously takes themselves more seriously and is obviously more invested in creating and crafting that product. I think there's a profound difference between reading a student's paper for meaning and correcting it. And in the College Summit, we are their readers, and we are reading it for meaning and uncovering and showing that meaning to the young writers that we're working with. So those are the theoretical underpinnings. Those are the reasons why we created the College Summit writing process. I know that it has gone through its own stages of inquiry and of investigation and of innovation over the years. I'm so proud to be a part of it. I'm proud to be able to talk to you today, and I want to just thank you for the work that you're going to be doing with the students and with the teachers themselves. So thank you.